Hello, hello, hello. It's me, your girl, Miss Toonslover, and I'm back with another breakdown episode. So about 3 months ago, on my Beavis and Butthead episode, Samurai Beast Warrior, you suggested that I do King of the Hill. I know I'm late, but I'm back, and I'm here to do the King of the Hill episode when Hank's dog was appearing to be racist. So, before I get into it, make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, hit the bell for notifications, make sure you guys leave a comment if there's a show or another episode that you'd like me to do a breakdown to, and make sure you're following me on the socials, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook page, Twitter. Okay, I'm around, Miss Toonslover. Follow me and let me know that you're here, because people just be following and subscribing and I don't know it's y'all. So say hello, okay? Leave a comment there too. All right, I'm about to get into this. Let's go. So this is the episode Racist Dog from King of the Hill, Season 7, Episode 20. I'm tired of y'all coming for me in the comments, talk about I talk too much. That's what my channel is for, me to talk, okay? It's on Hulu. The episode begins with Bill carrying an unconscious Peggy out of the Hill house. He begins to give her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, but she slaps the taste of nachos out his mouth. He runs back in to get Hank while Lady Bird drags Bobby out. Once Hank gains consciousness, Bill explains that he smelled gas coming from the house and the paramedics have been called. Apparently, Hank incorrectly installed a new water heater and nearly ended everyone's life, so Peggy called a repairman to check it out the next day. I guess Hank wasn't done trying to unalive his family because he really wanted another chance to fix the water heater. Peggy's like, nah man, he already on his way, and I'm not trying to wake up having Bill all up in my mouth no more. So the bell rings and it's the repairman, aka Bernie Mac, aka a black man. R.I.P. Bernie Mac, by the way. Legend. Mac was highly recommended by the church, so it sounds like he knows his stuff. But Hank ain't trying to hear that. He's got an attitude. Hank won't get off Bernie Mac's back while he's assessing the situation he messed up to begin with. So Bernie Mac let Hank think that they were vibing by swapping stories about customer screw-ups, but Mac's story was actually about Hank and this whole water heater situation. Hank was not here for it. He was sorry, y'all. Hank walks out while Uncle Bernie tries to continue doing his job, but then in comes Lady Bird, and she is not happy. Bobby also enters the room, blind to the fact that Lady Bird wants to make this nice fella her new chew toy, and believes that Lady Bird is smiling at Mac, and that Mac is making jokes, when in reality, he's scared. Bobby's dippy ass runs off to write down Mac's jokes, and just leaves this poor man here to fend for himself. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, Bobby tells Peggy and Hank what Mac said, and Hank once again is not pleased. He heads back to the room to check on Mac, but the door's locked. Hank wants Mac to open the door, but Mac's like, nah, son, I just want to finish this job without being eaten by your dog. For some reason, Hank is blind to the fact that Lady Bird doesn't like this man, regardless of how much growling she does. Hank convinces Mac to rub Lady Bird's belly, but of course she don't mess with Mac and she lunges at him.
What's wrong with you?
I'll tell you what's wrong with her. She's full of hate. Black hate.
Mac says it's because Lady Bird doesn't like black people, and Hank is flabbergasted. Finally, someone with some sense comes in and tells Hank to get the dog up out of there because she clearly ain't fooling with Mr. Mac over there. Peggy apologizes to Mac and invites him to stay for lunch. For real, him staying wasn't wise on his end. The dog obviously doesn't like him, and the family doesn't seem to have this under control, but that's just my opinion. During lunch, Hank is still trying to plead his case that his dog isn't racist, instead of, apologizing to the man for his dog attempting to bite his face off. They seem to bury the hatchet, and Mac is ready for another burger. As Hank heads to the grill to get Mac's seconds, Lady Bird runs into the house and again attacks Mac, but this time she bites him. Lady Bird is now tied up to a tree outside as Peggy cleans up Mac's wound. Hank tells Mac that he takes full responsibility for Lady Bird's actions, but She is not prejudiced. Mac responds by saying, Lady Bird isn't prejudiced.
She's racist.
No, she's not.
Hank says that Lady Bird must have developed a fear of strangers, but of course, the new white mailman walks up to the Hill household and has not a single issue with Lady Bird. She let the new mailman pet her tummy and everything. Max saw all he needed to see and he was out. He quit as their repairman and he tells the Hills that he will see them in church. Outside with his friends, Hank begins to believe that Lady Bird is indeed racist. His friends are absolutely no help here. Bill says, haven't black people been through enough? Boomhauer mentions all men being created equally and something about the pursuit of happiness, I think. But Dale, he really takes the cake. For $10, he offers to shoot Lady Bird between the eyes, Old Yeller style, or sneak up and get her from behind.
Either way, it'll cost you $10. I'll choke her for $5 and you can keep the head.
What is wrong with this guy? If Hank wasn't already feeling bad enough, the next few scenes don't get any better for him. First, Peggy says Lady Bird can't go around biting black people because it makes them look like ignorant rednecks. That remembers is bad for black people too. I'm telling y'all, I was weak watching this episode at this point. The next day, Hank asks for Bobby's help with black videos and they sit and watch rap videos with Lady Bird. She's completely uninterested, so Hank takes her to obedience school. Hank explains the situation to the instructor of the canine school, who immediately becomes offended and says that Lady Bird learned her racist behavior from Hank. He also added the fact that his girlfriend is African American and that Hank sickens him. Hank leaves all sad looking, and next scene we see him at his job. Hank is very much bothered by everything going on with Lady Bird at this point, and he talks to his black coworker Roger. He convinces Hank to take a test to see if he's racist or not. And of course, others come into the room just as he's finishing this test. In Hank's defense, he didn't even know which buttons to press on this test, but regardless, the results show that he strongly prefers the company of white people. This guy just keeps digging a bigger hole for himself everywhere he goes. At home, Hank tells Peggy about this test and encourages her to take the test, but the results claim that Peggy isn't racist, which only bothers Hank more. The Hill household attend the only church in town, I guess, because everybody's there. The dog instructor, his girlfriend, Mac. The sermon discusses racial discrimination, which is clearly focused on Hank. The whole church knows about the situation, and Hank is clearly mortified. Peggy is told by the Reverend to give Hank 2 dolls. One is white and the other is black, in order to role play and help get him out of his racist ways.
The cat is under the table. Here, Kiki.
Unfortunately, Lady Bird senses Hank's discomfort and grabs the black doll and chews it up and spits it out in front of a horrified prayer group that is gathered in Hank Hill's lawn. Hank cannot catch a break. Later on, a new white repairman comes to look at the water heater, but this guy is careless and a bit rude. Naturally, Hank is bothered. Lady Bird attacks yet another repairman, and initially, Hank attempts to help the guy, but once he realizes that Lady Bird attacked a white man, he's ecstatic. He realizes that Lady Bird picked up on Hank's subconscious cues, and he doesn't hate black people. He hates repairmen. Peggy and Hank are so happy that they leave to go get the Reverend so she can see for herself and see that Lady Bird isn't racist, but they left that poor repairman as he gets ripped to shreds. I don't think he's alive anymore, guys. It's over for him. After all that, Hank drives to Mac's house to explain the situation, but at first Mac is not trying to hear it. He still is like, yo, she racist. She trying to eat me. But Hank explains that it's not that Lady Bird is racist. She can just tell that Hank doesn't like repairmen. So Mac decides to come on outside and give it another go. And Lady Bird doesn't have an issue with him at all. As a matter of fact, she jumps on him and they play nicely. And the episode ends well. Turns out that Hank's dog isn't racist after all. The end. That episode was wild. Never seen it before. So shout out to my sister for picking this episode. Shout out to Samurai Beast Warrior for even suggesting King of the Hill. Sorry I got to it so late, but I'm here now. And I really appreciate it because I really did enjoy that episode. But if anybody has any other episodes of King of the Hill you want me to do a breakdown to, or even if it's not King of the Hill, it's another cartoon show from the 90s and the early 2000s, let me know. Comment, okay? Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.